팀.
우리가 함께인 이유.
승부. 받아들이고 또 이겨내야 할 자신과의 싸움. 꿈을 향해 달려온 15주. 값진 승리를 위한 도약. 정상을 향한 절실하고도 치열했던 순간들.
승리를 위한 집념.
때론 패하기도 하고
때론 절망도 했지만
힘을 믿고 나를 믿고
오늘 다시 한번 달린다. 오늘
우리가 챔피언이다.
Today, we are at the grand finals of the GSTL 2013 Season 1. And that trophy is going to one of these two teams. It will be MVP or will it be LGIM? MVP starting in the final did not have to play any playoff rounds, and LGIM all killed both their playoff rounds, and now they're in the finals.
$50,000 go to the first place today, to the winner of this team match in the best of 9, MVP or LGIM. The loser still gets $20,000, but of course they all want the title.
They all want the title. This is such a great season that we've been through here. You know, you saw in that little cutscene that we had before this, this is where our new studio started here at the GSTL with the start of Heart of the Swarm, back in the beta, and now everything is coming together here for this season that we've been going through for months here.
Yeah, LGIM in the playoffs, they looked unbeatable. In the regular season, they had a bit of a tough time, especially at the beginning, and also when they were facing MVP in the regular season, they only took one single map. Sniper and Keen took them apart, but now they want revenge. And if the last two matches are any indication for what we're going to see today, then MVP is in for quite a lot of trouble here, because 2 times LGIM all killed.
Yeah, LGIM 2 all kills in a row. They've got that momentum going for them right now. And, you know, those 2 players that we just saw get the all kills are ready to come out for blood again. But there's so many other players on LGIM's bench to call out, but MVP, a team full of snipers. Both of these teams have so much depth, and I feel that's how they got here to the finals. LGIM, a team that's been struggling historically for a while in the Team League, they finally have their chance in the finals, and I know Hirai is really looking to get it.
Yeah, he definitely wants the title this time. MVP, on the other hand, they are a team who has always done well in the GSTL, and they want to get another victory. The first one in 2013. And we talked a little bit about the change in the format. When we had the regular season, it was only a best of 7, but now going into the playoffs and the final here, we have a best of 9 format, and this is something where teams like MVP really shine.
Yeah, absolutely so. And MVP, a team with so many players, so many personalities. LGIM with so many champions. You know, historically speaking, LGIM has been the team that does well in the individual league, not so much in the team league, but MVP is a team that has so many players that don't do very well in the individual league, but are great for sniping, great starting players like Keen, for example, who is our starting player today. But LGIM this season, they're changing it up.
Yeah, MVP has a lot of talent in their lineup, and well, today we are going to find out if it's enough to take down LGIM. They finished 3rd in the regular season and had to, they actually finished 4th, had to finish up Zuhu first with an all kill, then went up against Axiom Acer just yesterday, and now they are in their 3rd match up against MVP in the finals.
This is going to be quite the tense match. It all comes down to this. Everything these two teams have worked for this entire season. LGIM not having an easy path, but their last 2 playoff matches, they certainly made those look pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I actually think that we are going to see a very long game. I talked to a few players and also to guys from Blizzard that are currently here at the studio, and everyone expects this to be a long and drawn-out match. We expected the same thing yesterday, but then suddenly another all-kill occurred with LGIM taking the victory here. But today, everyone expects a very fierce match between these two teams. And of course, before we start with our first game, we have a quick interview with the coaches.
Yep. You hear what they have to say. And yesterday we saw a very quick interview here from both coaches, as they just basically said, we're going to do our best, that's all we can do. And I'm looking forward to see what Coach Choi is going to say. It's been a while.
이번 시즌 시작할 때 이번
So he's just talking about that they were able to advance as the first team in the regular season straight to the finals. Their goal was to make it to the playoffs, and their players, they performed so well. So they were really happy that they were advancing to the finals right away, that they don't have to go through all these playoff matches.
어떻게 보셨습니까?
그러게요. 제가 지난번 인터뷰 때 좀 막상막하의 경기가 나와서 많은 전략과
LGIM all killed twice in the playoffs
봤으면
to
좋겠다
advance to the finals.
이랬는데 역시 LGIM이네요.
He wanted LGIM to have close matches to tire them out. And he's a little bit disappointed that they got the all kills. Obviously, this also means that they didn't show a lot of strategies, a lot of different players, or any of the depth of their lineup.
Exactly, it's something that here I talked about yesterday. We was really happy about that. First player today is Keen, of course. So he's just asking the coach how many kills he expects from Keen.
이번 시즌 황유석 선수가 선봉으로 나와서 한 번도 진 적이
He says only at least one player.
자원을 하더라고요.
If he wins the first match, maybe he can carry the momentum into the next matches.
황규석 선수의 이 초반 기선 제압 한번 기대해 보도록
Pretty conservative estimate there, but he's up against First, and First is a really strong player. He just reached the round of 8 in the individual league in the WCS Premier League, so very strong opponent to face. But Keen also a very good starter for him in the past.
전 시즌
very
4강
true.
이상. 하지만
Their most
저희도
common start, it
지금까지
seems
우승은
like
한
these
번밖에
days.
없거든요. 오늘 꼭 우승해서
Team MVP advanced to the semifinals and all the GSTLs. They only have one championship on the other hand.
감독님 만나봤고요. 이제는 이에 맞서는
And they want to have another one in their resume, as we saying.
올킬을 기록하면서
Yeah, this is the trophy for the champion.
There can only be one champion here.
네. 야,
LGIM coach
대박이었어요. 두 번 다 올킬 딱
looking a little bit more
잡아내면서
casual today.
오늘 올킬 기대해봐도 됩니까?
So he's just being asked about the all kills that they achieved so far in the season.
첫 경기가 중요한 만큼 첫 경기를 이기면 뭐 5대 한 2, 5대 3 정도 예상을 하고요. 지게 되면은 뭐 5대 4까지 갈 것 같습니다.
So he basically just says that the first game, in his opinion, is today the most important of the entire match. Who's able to take the first game today, in his opinion? Did you just say he's getting the is winning the final, or just getting?
You say he just feels really good about it.
아, 제가 굉장히 포장을 잘했어요.
감사합니다.
자, 오늘 상대는 페넌트 레이스 1위 MVP예요.
네.
좋은 선수가 굉장히 많은 팀인데 어떤 선수가 제일
How do you
좀
feel
위협적이다?
about
저는 개인적으로
playing against the team that got first
생각으로
place in the pennant
생각을
race? MVP, of course, getting the final spot directly from this.
어떻게 보면은 빨리 잡아낼 수 있다라는 게 더 좋은 것 같고요.
You thought Keen was the scariest player on Team MVP. He's actually happy that he came out first.
김원영 선수한테 굉장히 약하기 때문에
네.
김원영 스나이핑.
You know, that's actually something that Younghwa yesterday said as well, that he thinks that everything centers around Keen for MVP these days. And Younghwa is basically just saying the same thing that Hira is once again mentioning too, that Keen is such a scary opponent to face and they really want to take him out, so they're happy that he comes out early.
리그 성적이 항상
Yeah, it's real. The first player is always the player you compare the most for.
없을 정도로 부끄럽고 죄송한 마음뿐인데 이번 시즌에는 꼭
He said that you said one of his players is not doing very well in the GSTL. I couldn't hear who it was, but he said he's looking forward to hoping that that player does better. I don't know who he said that was.
Maybe talking about First here, really strong in the individual league, but let's see what he can do in the team league today.
Must be what he was talking about.
Both coaches actually being a little bit conservative here. We had a lot of smack talk in the playoffs, mainly from the Azubu coach. And well, we are going to find out what exactly MVP and LGIM can do here today. This is going to be a really good game. The opening match, of course, as well. We have a Terran versus Protoss. Keen is the player that a lot of people expected to be the first player for Team MVP. He has been a starter several times already.
Yeah, this is true. There's Squirtle, somebody we could definitely see come out today. Not be surprised.
Beyond the Zira, the Zerg corner at the left side of the screen, and joined by MC here.
This is just a solid lineup of players, and we're going to take a closer look at these lineups. Of course, starting with their code rosters here and breakdown by race.
As you can see, LGIM with 5 players in the Premier League. And just looking at the race distribution on the other hand, we have a little bit of a like for Terran players in the lineup of LGIM. On the other hand, they have really strong ones at that. But just in general, in a best of 9 format, both teams are going to shine here. They have a lot of players, they have a lot of depth, and a lot of strong players at that.
Yeah. Both players having 12 listed on their roster. The only player being different, of course, is that missing Terran player for LGIM, but that's the only thing that's different really as far as the race distributions. They both have about the same for each race, and they have so many players they can pick from. There's DRG, And look at LGIM's run. They basically had a rough start and got back up. MVP just went straight up to the top and never lost their spot.
Yeah, MVP, they had an incredible season. Several all kills. They had just such a good indicator. And even when they later on lost against Zubu, they could just give a couple of new players a chance there because they already knew even if they lost the match, there was no way they would lose the first spot in the standings. So really good season for MVP, but they have to win the finals if they want to get that crown.
Yep. And that's what matters the most to all these teams, is getting that actual title, getting that money, getting that trophy.
$50,000 are on the line. And well, players are getting ready, and of course so are we. So we talked a bit yesterday about, of course, the performance that we saw from Yonghwa, and we were doubting a little bit that Yonghwa would be the first player today for Team LGIM, just because the one Terran player that always defeats Yonghwa is Keen, and that's also why Yonghwa said that he thinks that Keen is going to be the key player for Team MVP today. And Keen has been a starter in the past, he's the starter today, and he is up against First, a player that has a very good Protoss versus Terran, so I feel we are going to see a very, very fierce match.
Yeah, and this match is where kind of things start. If you lose the first match, you do have a backup plan, generally speaking, for the player that you lost to, because you knew that you would have a possibility of losing, especially in this case where both players are such high-level players. But if you lose that momentum, especially if you lose to either Keen or First, then you really have to think about how you're going to handle this, especially if you lose the second game. So the first and second game are the most important.
It's just so important when a player gets this momentum. We talked about it yesterday in the interview when Yonghwa actually said the same thing, that he was nervous in game number 1, but once he got his first win, he calmed down so much and he was able to focus and take it one game at a hand. And then he actually performed the all kill. But here we have the lineup for Team MVP.
Yeah.
So many good players there.
An insane amount of good players. Keen, the starting player. You've got Dream, his other Terran buddy. You've got Noxo. You have Shine, the former TSL Zerg sniper, a GSL champion. You've got Killer, coach, and also sometimes comes out. And I would not even be shocked to see him. And this is actually MVP's first best of 9. They kind of skipped the other ones.
Exactly, the first best of 9 for them, but so many players here in the studio. DRGO, of course, here as well. And they can prepare so many snipers, especially when you know that for the opposing team will most likely see a fair share of Protoss players.
Yes.
So you have to prepare for this massive Protoss lineup that LGIM has these days.
Of course, here is the lineup that we're talking about for LGIM. Very, very strong lineup. The only weak point, perhaps, being their Terran players. You say weak point, or I say weak point. You didn't say it. I'm accusing you. But Yoda has an all kill under his belt just from a few days ago.
If you just look at the numbers, they have exactly the same amount of Zerg players as Protoss players, but the Protoss lineup is so much more successful these days in the individual league that they are the really scary part. There we have one of them, two of them actually, MC and Squirtle.
Yeah.
Even Rune there to the right, in the back, Kang Ho, MVP just standing there. Maybe you're going to see Jürgen in the booth today.
Yeah, could see him. You could see anybody for both these teams. It's the best of 9, and they've been hiding a lot of strategies. They've got a lot of things planned, especially, MVP has hidden strategies simply because they didn't have to play through the playoffs, and LGIM got the all kills, so they didn't have to show very much either.
Yeah. This is what it boils down to. These teams have been performing for weeks, for months, and they want to have this title. We have Keen going up against First in the first game, and it is actually going to be on Atlas, our first map here in the best of 9 format.
Certainly will be on Atlas. Just look at these two teams.
Yeah. And in this particular scenario, the players didn't have that much time to prepare for this match.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
Just yesterday did they know who is going to play whom.
Less than 24 hours. And they have to sleep and also make sure that they're mentally rested for this. So really great for both of these teams, because say we had a 5-4 yesterday between these, one of these teams who was showing a lot more strategies and a lot more tired out, but in this case, both teams being pretty rested.
Team spirit for MVP, one of those things that was driving them throughout the entire season. Players coming into the studio right now, getting into the booths. This is going to be good.
It certainly will be. I expect nothing less than an insane match here. This is what it all comes down to. This is the end of our season, and what an exciting end it will be. The teams doing their final fist pump and kind of motivational chant here. Both teams so big, they make a really big circle when they go to do this.
The MVP huddle, and let's see if they can perform it today again. Killer is one of the pillars of the team. He's keeping the motivation up, and on the other hand, we have LGIM. MVP being really vocal here.
Yeah, extremely so. See how the LGIM team matches up with that.
Here it's
They're-
now like,
they're
guys,
having
we
a-
have to be louder.
He's actually given like an emotional, inspirational speech here, I'm sure. And the LGIM coach has, said so much in interviews. He's basically spent the past 6 months or so apologizing for his team league performances, but this time, this could be his season.
He was so worried. He came into the season and said that this is going to be their season, that they're going to win the title, and then they lost a lot of the matches, and he was really sorry about that. He was just looking at it, was like, guys, I don't know what's wrong here, but then suddenly they were just winning game after game, and they came into the playoffs. They were able to make that happen. They were one of the last teams that actually qualified for the playoffs, and since then, they didn't drop a single map. Several players just got those all kills. They're not a team that relies on a single player doing well. They're a team of champions, a team that has such a great lineup and such strong players. But in the past, they always struggled a little bit with their picks and with the strategy that they chose in the team league. On the other hand, we have Team MVP, and their player picks were amazing in the past.
Yeah. Really, really intelligent choices. Some of the best we've ever seen.
The only thing that always came, was a little bit tricky for MVP was when they started to use DRG during this season, because DRG, he couldn't live up to the expectation. He always fell short, and I feel that lately he's doing a lot better again, but I'm not quite sure when we're going to see him today. He was the final boss for his team, but I don't think that he is going to fulfill this role today.
Yeah, last time he was the final boss, he wanted to get his team to Busan, his hometown, to play in the GSTL finals. Did not happen. It was a FX Open versus Slayers instead who did make it. And, for me, I feel like we may not see DRG at all today. Even though they have 5 players they can choose from, I would not put it past Coach Choi to say, you know what, the stakes are too high here, and I can't allow you to play today if you're not feeling 110%.
Well, time will definitely tell, and first of all, it's of course really important to see who gets the opening point here. That is what you want to have. You want to gain that momentum, and you want to force your opponent's team to react to your choices. So this is why the first game is always so important. Hero was talking about it in the interview earlier, that he personally thinks that whoever takes the first map today will have a huge lead in this match and will dominate the entire series and potentially take it. So this is one of the things that we might see right now. We've seen crazy comebacks this season, but so far LGIM has been doing really well with their opening players, and let's see if First is actually the one who can take down Keen. And Keen is actually a choice that was expected. A lot of people expected it, so I feel this is probably exactly why we see First now out as the starting player for LGIM, because they thought that there is a high chance that Keen is going to come out, and First has a pretty decent Protoss versus Terran, as said before.
Exactly, that's probably what they're thinking here, because they when they select their player, they're thinking just like we got to deal with Keen, so who wants to deal with Keen? Who's got the great Protoss versus Terran that we could deal with, or Zerg versus Terran? Who's it going to be? They probably considered using Ragnarok as well. They've used him several times. I talked about this yesterday, just briefly, but they're using First instead. And like you said, this one is so pivotal because both these players are so strong. LGIM is worried about Keen, and now they're happy that maybe they can take him out first.
If they could take out Keen first, that would already be very, very good for them, especially since Keen is the player they are so worried about and were now for quite some time. And First actually has 22 maps played in this matchup, and he won 62% of them. So he has a really decent record here.
Yeah, insanely good.
Well, apparently someone is missing
Austin
in the studio.
should be here. I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing.
I agree, though. I definitely agree. He should be here.
He traveled 8,000 kilometers for this. And thank you for coming.
He should have told us from where he is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we just draw a bunch of 8,000 kilometer lines in different directions. We'll eventually figure it out.
Like just a quick circle and a quick idea okay, where it could be from. But yeah, the thing is, this is going to be a great match. We had actually really exciting matches when LGIM played the last 2 times. It wasn't all kills, so it was a little bit shorter, but it was just incredible to see that their players were able to perform those all kills. And especially against teams like Axiom Acer, you wouldn't have expected an all kill possible, because Axiom Acer themselves, they had such a great season, and they were one of the teams who participated for the first time here in the Team League. So it was really cool to see.
Yeah.
But now we have, of course, Keen. He's the starting player for Team MVP.
Yeah, look at he's played 31 games in total in all the GSTL seasons that we've ever had. He's also, First is his best position at 10-6, 62.5% win ratio. Yeah. And I gotta say, this guy is on fire sometimes, and LGIM is very concerned about him. Luckily for them, if they get rid of him early, that means they don't have to be concerned with him anymore.
Yeah. The thing is, we're gonna talk about the statistics later on once again, but just to give you a little bit of a breakdown how good Keen actually is in this matchup and why LGIM is a little bit worried about them. LGIM is a Protoss heavy team, And Keen has a 76% win ratio against Protoss. He played 17 maps against Protoss and he won 13 of them. This is why they are so afraid of him. If they can take him down early on, then their Protoss players will have a much better time today.
Yeah, absolutely. The same could be said for MVP. If they take out first, that's one less Protoss to worry about. Keen definitely prepared for this. He had a lot more time, you know, just sitting at home. He didn't have to take the trip back like LGIM did last night and sit down at home and talk about it. He was probably already prepared to play against Protoss first. And as soon as he found the player, he could just prepare for the specific map, which is, in this case, Atlas. This is going to be exciting. This is the match that both teams have prepared the most for, and this is where the momentum is going to start. One way or another.
Commander Keen is in the booth and he is up against First. Comes out first for his team today. Keen looking so strong these days, but First, on the other hand, he's in the round of 8 now of the individual league, of the Premier League.
Sniper looking a little bit pensive there.
Nasty a little bit sleepy.
Yeah, as usual. Ragnarok sitting next to him. Zerg buddies. So many people in the studio here. It's very packed.
And here we go, Protoss versus Terran. We have Keen versus First on Atlas, the first game today at the GSTL, the finals. $50,000 for the victor. The second place, the runner-up, goes home with $20,000. Still a solid amount of money, but you want to have those $50,000.
Yeah, 30,000 difference on the line there.
That's a lot of kimchi.
That is a lot. I don't even think that could last 6 lifetimes. Kimchi could buy with that.
Kimchi is pretty cheap here. Could also buy a lot of soju for that.
This is true. Well, whatever it is they want to buy, they have to win first. Atlas, the map is nearly loaded.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready. Game number 1 of the day at Terran versus Protoss. The starting player for MVP is once again the commander. It is Keen himself with a great statistic against Protoss, against such a Protoss heavy lineup against LGIM, probably their most valuable player. We have First, his first opponent here. Can the LGIM Protoss take him down? Atlas is the map. Set number 1 start at the GSTL 2013 Season 1 with Colin Wolf. Starting to the top left of Atlas, it is the commander with his pogo stick, the starting player for Team MVP. We have
MVP Keen.
Keen. Up against the LGIM player to the top right in yellow. Starting player. He is quite literally
LGIM First.
the last time LGIM faced MVP was in the regular season, and back then First was the starting player. He lost to Sniper in the first game right away, and then Sniper and Keen, they continue to take down Incredible Miracle. The only map win for LGIM was delivered by Yonghwa. He defeated Sniper and then immediately got taken out by Keen. One of the reasons why we don't see Yonghwa as the starting player.
Yes.
Yonghwa was just recently able to all kill just yesterday.
Well, this is a 4-player map. Lots of wins and great games, Incredible Miracle, it's true. I like that.
The scout goes to the bottom right for First, so he will not know for a long time where Keen spawned, and also he won't be able to get a scout in there. The Marine will be out.
That's true. Or conversely, the Reaper, because he is taking gas, and it could just be a Reaper opening from him. Either
the Marine
way,
will still be out.
yeah.
That probe should not get into the main base.
He won't. If he does, well, it's a reactor here first, so there's a possibility he gets in, and it looks like that's just going to be a reactor expand.
Yeah. At the bottom left, we have the same situation now also for the Terran player. Keen sends his first SCV to the bottom left, and therefore it's going to take quite some time for him to find out where exactly First spawns. And, well, the reactor is more than halfway done. The probe now realizing that there has to be the starting position at the top left, moves in there immediately.
Yeah. And will he make 2 Reapers, or is he going for the Marines? That's the question. 2 Reapers can be good on this map, and he does.
Yeah,
2
they
Reapers.
gets the 2 Reapers, and the probe is actually not even bothering with the top left because he expects there to be some units that will shut down the scout, goes into the middle of the map to the Zalnaga watchtower, and the Reapers are actually rallied towards the ramp, so Keen already expecting the probe to pop up any second.
You know, I wonder if this is a builder choice by Keen simply because he scouted unluckily, so then he made the choice to go for the Reapers because that timing works out really well for him. And now, even though his SCV will probably get into the main base here and at least see the mothership core, he's going to have the Reapers to check and find out what the follow-up is. And we actually have a 3rd Reaper on the way. Nice micro here by First, trying to deny the scout in the main base.
Yeah, the SCV does not get in. We have a lot of Reapers actually here in the game now. 2 already roaming the map and another 2 are currently being built. So this is a pretty huge commitment to Reapers, and he has to do some damage with this. He wants to take down as many of his opponent's harvesters as possible.
He's hiding them, Caldor. He keeps only one to the left side.
Yeah, he could also start to get just a few more and then just move in and maybe snipe a sentry or even a stalker.
Yeah, when those unit counts are low and the mothership core is not at home, you can do so much damage with this.
Wait a second, did he cancel
canceled
the Reapers?
them.
Okay, he canceled the Reapers and went into Marines.
That makes sense. This mothership core will actually delay the command center. He will be able to kill his SCV and get away, and the Reapers are denied in the main base. They don't get any scouting. He was a little bit distracted by that mothership core, and the command center is still not building.
Do you think he misclicked for the Reapers? Or do you think that was actually a conscious decision? Because those Marines would have really helped him to send that mothership core away a lot earlier.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's definitely possible. Regardless, now he's going to come up here and scout. Does see the Nexus, goes into the main base on the right side, sees that it is in fact a forge going down there.
Let's talk a little bit about the statistics for the 2 players. You saw earlier on screen already the achievements for both players, their win record, including Wings of Liberty. Now we're talking about Heart of the Swarm. I mentioned already Keen's statistics before we went into the match. He has a 76% win ratio against Protoss, is 13-4 in maps. A really great player in this matchup, an incredible player. But First, on the other hand, is also really good. Just advanced to the round of 8 in the individual league, and he is 16-10 in this matchup. Has a 62% win ratio, a very strong player for his team. So both of them at eye level here. And in this game now in particular, besides the scouting that we have, not a lot of early aggression. Keen even already getting his 3rd orbital here, whereas we have for First his tech with the robotics.
Yeah, tech with the robo coming up here. And we have Keen pulling a Ryung from yesterday, trying to hide the 3rd command center, very similarly to how Ryung hit it, in fact, where he puts it near the 3rd base, but will probably actually lift it and move it to the 4th, where it's completely hidden. And we'll see if that works out for him this time. He's also getting a quick +1 here. He's not too far behind the armor.
Yep.
Good Phoenix Scout here.
Phoenix Scout moves in. Phoenix Scout's one of the things that we've seen the most time for Protoss players. You don't need the upgrade anymore as you did in Wings of Liberty at the Cybernetics core. So now you just can get those out immediately with your sentries, and that's really important. Protoss players don't have to rely on the observers alone anymore, so if you don't get the probe scout in right at the beginning, it's still annoying, but you can scout later on with your first sentry, and that gives you so much information.
Yeah, the command center, by the way, has not been scouted.
Yeah.
The Phoenix hallucination was killed by Marines. Speaking of scouts, Reaper comes in the main base here, and the mothership core actually does not quite get it, and the force field is missed.
Yeah.
Gets in here, sees everything, the bay, and we'll see the gates as well.
Really well done. Also sees the forge here with the spin, so he knows exactly what's going on. And the 3rd base is now done for Keen. He has the orbital and he takes that 3rd base to the left side. Another scout moving in here with the observer. No scan. He didn't really see it. Observer's trying to find out what's happening, but the Marines are already rallied across the map. Let's see how much he can do with this.
Yeah, 2nd observer coming to rally in here as well. He wants to know if there's going to be any splits on these units or how long the units are going to stay around. He knows with this observer now that the medevacs are not out. He sees that the first 2 are just being produced, and the Colossus, the first one, is on the way. Starts at Twilight Council, no range, so we could just see 1 Colossus into Storm. Nice Stalker Scout here, and the stim is not done, so we can't actually commit to a stim and attack here.
Yeah. First Colossus will be there for the 2nd wave. +1 attack has been started now that the armor upgrade is completed, and we have mining going on for Keen at the 3rd base. And so far, First doesn't even know that there is a 3rd.
Yeah.
And this is starting to become a little bit of a problem. Keen, of course, has to be ready to go up against timings if they occur, but at this point, everything is going according to plan for the Terran player.
I think this probe will scout all these locations just to make sure. We'll probably also add a pylon for a little run-bys later. But even scouting it now is not necessarily ideal because it's already paid for itself, the command center, with all the extra mules, the saturation.
A lot of pylons on the map now for First. He wants to have those Zealot run-bys.
Oh, wow. He could actually lose his probe here and he won't see the CC.
No, he's moving in. The Observer is moving in. The Observer alone is going to see it. Already sees the SCV that are being transferred over to the third. Now he knows about it. And here come those Marines.
Oh,
he needs to
beautiful force
evacuate.
fields. He needs to evacuate, like you said. Only a few going down here, but those force fields were so quick, so spot on. We don't mind coming over here to just check for a third base and maybe harass a little bit.
The Marine is currently on a patrol path trying to find out if there are forward pylons for first, and he should be able to spot that pylon on the high ground just barely, and then he can take it out. That's so important, because if you don't find those pylons, then you have a huge problem later on when the Protoss player has that mineral bank and is starting to use it to warp in Zealots and attack a mineral line at the third base or even natural. But I don't think he scouted it. Oh, okay, now he realized.
Well, consider that even though we've had such a much faster third from first, Keen has, or rather from Keen, first has spent all of his gas and all of his time on these really, really expensive tech upgrades, and he has that tech advantage over his opponents. So this game may be decided by storms in the mid-game, and also Viking counts. How many Vikings does Keen commit to? Because right now we still only have that first Colossus, no range, and he's not making ghosts. He's only getting Vikings, which are not going to be helpful for him against the storms.
Yeah, that is definitely becoming an issue here for him, and he needs to get that scout. In general, he's doing a great job with his macro. He already has a nearly 40 supply lead over his opponent, and is now starting to get his double upgrades once that the armory just finished. So we have even a block at the potential fourth base for his opponent, and here comes the Ghost Academy. Maybe a little bit late, but he should be able to just react in time.
Yeah, 5 gates being added here for first. He has a Warp Prism with 3 Zealots and a High Templar. There are a lot of Keen units on the edge of the base, though, to intercept this. And right now the third base is up for first. He has a big bank in gas.
You know, Commander Keen here, he missed his +2 armor upgrade. He didn't start it yet. The first armor upgrade finished a long time ago, and he needs to realize this if he wants to catch up in the upgrades.
Group of rocks being taken out here, just very careful play by Keen, just trying to open up all the pathways that he can. Several Vikings being added, no ghosts just yet.
Nice.
And will the Marines react in time? It looks like they don't have to, because he just flies right over them.
Well done,
Templar
well
is
done.
dead.
Yeah, takes down the Templar and the Marines. Yes, they might die, but at the same time the reinforcements are already moving in. That was really well done. Those units in position was exactly what he needed, and now Keen wants to move in. But still, he has to deal with Storm, and he doesn't have anything against it.
Yeah, his first ghost is on production tab right now, and it's all about Keen's split here. How can he get into these positions? How can he get up the ramp? Time Warp goes down.
I think Keen is going to commit here. He scanned ahead, he saw those High Templars, and he's like, you know what? I'm actually not sure if you have Storm yet or not, so I'll just take it easy for now, wait a little bit longer until I have my own ghosts in the game.
Continuing to scan here, just trying to get any additional information that he can. Even saying these Marines over here to bait out some charges.
He's at the much earlier third base, and he is so far ahead in supply at this point.
And he's closing the gap in tech.
Yeah, the only thing that is really worrying me a little bit is that he doesn't start his +2 armor upgrade. This is definitely not a choice. This is a little bit of a mistake. I think he wanted to start it earlier, but his attack upgrade was already done. First armor upgrade, not just yet, so I think that he probably clicked on the engineering bay and didn't realize that he couldn't start +2 yet.
Yeah, sometimes you just press EA.
Yeah.
And
exactly, you're an autopilot. You select double engineering bay, hit the hotkeys, and then you don't double check it anymore, and I think this is exactly what happened here.
I think so too. He's going to find out soon. An EMP here is actually whiffed. He doesn't actually get those Templar.
Yeah, but he's pressuring his opponent a lot, taking down that one Warp Prism again, dodges the Storm. Here comes the feedback against the Ghost, well done.
Yeah, nice feedback here. A group of units tries to come up against the Storms. Storm here a little bit late, but he still gets, it's a good one. He needs like 1 or 2 more Storms. Oh,
nice.
Great force fields with the Storm there. The Archon doing so much damage.
Really well done, double force field and the Storm, and Keen is trying hard, but so far the defense for first is really good.
Great Storms here again, but he needs more than that. The cannon even adding some extra DPS, and the charge Zealots run in once more. There's so many medevacs here. The Vikings again, not very useful in this case. There's no Colossi left.
The EMP is getting much better now. Suddenly a lot of those High Templars are exposed. Keen moves back. He's trying to bait them out. He's trying to at least take down those Zealots. He's getting a fourth base behind this already. And the next round of warp-ins for first, solidifying his defense.
Solidifying his defense. He's about to have +2 attack. The Ghosts here a little bit
Nice.
trapped. Good force field, but there's no Storms.
Gets all of the Ghosts except for one. That's still a 30 supply lead for the Terran player, moving in, trying to get into a position now. Suddenly,
Here comes
he
the
puts
Storms.
a wedge into the natural.
Storm's going down though, and all these units are in the red. Will first actually go for the chase. I feel like he could here. He's evened up the supply quite a lot with these Storms.
+2 armor and +3 attack have been started for Keen. He forgot about the second armor upgrade earlier, but now he's getting those double upgrades.
Here come the
He
Zealots.
can't commit anymore. Here come the Zealots with the charge.
He's trapped a little bit here. He needs to boost away. He does, but he can't pick up everything, and the Colossus switch is underway as well.
He needs to run. He needs to run.
Ghosts.
He's evacuating the Ghost. At least he's trying to, but he doesn't have a lot of units. The rally is still to the right side of the map, and those Zealots, they actually they just take down the Marines without a problem at all.
Keen's units are so low on hit points, Color, and 1 or 2 more Storms will eliminate his entire army. They're even in supply, but these Storms, the Templar at the back, are a big problem, as are that is that one Colossus.
I don't know if he can hold here.
I don't know
First
either.
actually commits, but First is a little bit hesitant. He doesn't know what we know. He doesn't know everything about the army composition, about also the hit points and the medevac energy. So he is not moving in just yet. He wants to play this a bit more safe, trying to get his own 4th base up. But Keen has that 4th base. He's starting to saturate it, and he's also going into the cloak for the Ghost now. That will make it much easier for him to get those important snipes and EMPs against the High Templars.
You're absolutely right. And first, what he wants to do right now is get a really good position at the bottom of the ramp at the 3rd base of Keen. At least that seems to be his idea. Now he moves away. Those Zealots will be able to break through the bunker. He has to wait until he sees Keen's army move out, though, before he uses them, or else it's going to be useless.
And with only 1 upgrade being researched for First, with not even the 2nd Forge just yet, he has a problem getting those upgrades out. He's going for the +3 armor upgrade and still has a bit of a lead over Keen, but that over time will vanish.
But one thing I really want to point out is that there are only 5 Marauders. There are 58 Marines, but the Marauders are really what you want against a storm-heavy composition, because the Marines die so quickly to those storms, and he can't really do anything about it until he fights, because he can't remax without losing his units.
Immediately the +3 armor upgrade, once +2 is done, so now he's on even footing with First in terms of the upgrades, and his +3 attack upgrade will be done very soon. First is getting the 3rd armor upgrade out, and
Nice
just
snipe
now,
on these Templar.
he's just now getting the range for his Colossi Wolf.
Yeah. He's trying to make that switch. Oh, the EMPs here could be excellent. First cannot engage there, and losing those Templar is so bad for him.
First, with a great decision here to put on some additional pylons to the bottom left of the map once again. He needs those run-bys. He wants to set up another flank, and here they come. The Zealots moving into the 3rd base, but the problem really being that there's already a bunker. He's ready. Keen that is.
Yeah, Keen's ready. His army is out of position, but this bunker's not. Here we go.
Nice.
Beautiful. Here uses the boost on the Medivacs to snipe 3 Templar.
Boosts in, drops them, and hits the EMPs and the snipes. Really well done.
No storm. No storm here, and the bunker is repaired. First is in trouble. Keen going for an aggressive push here. Looks like he will be able to take out the 3rd base.
The High Templars are all gone. The Cloak Ghosts make them disappear in seconds, and this is exactly the same fate that the 4th base here has to endure. Goes down against all those Marines with a stim, just way too much DPS, and another move, and he's dancing already.
He is dancing already here. Keen trying to get close to the main base. He has a lot of Marines, remaxing immediately with Ghosts. And he just needs 1 or 2 more storms to push this back, but he's not able to get them. The Colossus at the back doing a lot of damage, and this is why you want more Marauders in your composition. Watch it how First quickly destroys his entire army.
Immediately boosts away with the Medivacs. I actually don't think that it was a conscious decision to dance with the Marines there. I think he just went for a weird kiting. Now he sees that base at the right side, and we have another one being built for First. So it's not like the Protoss player is dead or anything here. He still has a very solid income. He has 2 bases where he can start mining.
And a Templar drop.
The same supply. Templar drop with only 1 High Templar though. Not killing anything.
Not killing anything, but the threat is always there. That's why these 2 turrets are started immediately. A small Marauder group is going to have to run away.
And a nuke. We have a nuke now in the production tab. And let's not forget about the armor upgrade. It is soon to be completed, and then he will be ahead in upgrades.
Yeah, a Terran player being ahead of a Pross player in upgrades. Never thought I'd see the day, but +3 is nearly done for First. And he's going to lose this Colossus potentially. Nice micro, but very heavily damaged here.
Yeah, and those Marauders don't even die. The Medivac is there to help them out, at least one of them. Moves back immediately. Now we have a 4-base economy of 4-base Terran player against a 4-base Protoss player. So both of them in a really good shape when it comes down to their income.
Right now, several Ghosts being produced, and that's why he doesn't have very many Marauders, because he's using all of his minerals on Ghosts, and that's where his tech lab production goes. So he's still very low on the Marauder count. Only 6 versus 42 Marines, and this could be a problem for him. Now that all the Templar are ready, he has 7 Templar on the map right now.
Keen moved to the bottom left with a smaller force and took out most of the pylons. There are still a few of them present on the map for First to have another forward warp in. He's going into Blink now, trying to make that Colossus switch happen, but we already have 8 Vikings, and with a good position, they could take down those Colossi very fast. Once again, the battle between Ghost and High Templar, and this time, the High Templar got the better of them.
Yep, at least for now, his friends will avenge the Ghost there, snipe the Templar. That one Warp Prism still active on the map, but he's not able to get anything done with it. And First is able to remax. He's retaking that third base.
Uh-oh, and
Great
here we
EMPs.
go. And those High Templars are already gone. Another one is moving in for a storm, and First is caught in the middle of the map.
He's out in the middle of nowhere. He's nowhere near any of Keen's bases either. And Keen, he's ready to base trade. He stims, he goes in, and we are going to have a crazy elimination race here.
Keen can fly his buildings away, and he has that burst damage with Stim. He has a crazy DPS with this very marine-heavy army. Look at all those gateways, completely exposed. The entire production of Keen, who actually splits his army, tries to move back, repress that planetary, goes with the SCVs in against those stalkers that we have to the left side of the map.
And Keen turns around with some cloak ghosts. Where are the observers? He only has 1, and it's on the other side of the map.
He wants to take out those High Templars. There are 6 left for First. If those go down, then it will be very difficult for First to win this game. Those Vikings also moving in, and they take down those Colossi.
The Stalkers here trying to help out, but the Colossi, as you mentioned, are gone. Where are the Storms? He needs them. These Templar don't have enough energy just yet.
He didn't even see them. I don't think he even tried to move them away, and suddenly a very dire situation for the Protoss player. The starting player of LGIM is in trouble. Keen has a bank, and he has a lot more supply.
Right now, there are bases to the bottom right. He's starting to rebuild his gateways. He is mining a lot, and Keen, he has to realize this. He has to go over there and pressure those bases, or maybe First can remax here.
But
like you said, the bank.
Look at the army supply alone. That is 70 for First, and we have 130 army supply for Keen.
7 gateways being added right now for First. All Keen needs to do is walk over there and kill these bases before First can get any more army up, because like you said, he has a much better army right now, and First should not engage this.
No,
not against
not at
those
all.
ghosts.
If Keen is able to get his army together and just moves in, then First is in a lot of trouble against 17 ghosts. He needs the perfect storms to make this happen. It's looking really grim for the starting player for LGIM. Here we go.
The EMPs are already going off here, and where is that observer? Now it comes in. Vikings not all too useful. A beautiful storm, but the ghosts, they have so many hit points.
Another storm is moving in, and all of the shield energy is already gone. The ghosts, they just don't stop. They move in again with a good snipe. The storm doing a lot of damage, but it's not enough.
It's not enough. First finally has these gateways ready. He wants to warp in units, but he does. He have the time. The nuke is active.
He's going for the nuclear launch here. He's moving in, trying
Another
to draw his opponent away.
He has
is he
one more
moving
storm.
in? This could be devastating.
The nuke, it's getting closer.
But the ghost dies.
The ghost dies, and actually Keen is being pushed back here. Counter. First is pushing him back. Those stalkers blinking forward. The medevac's low in energy. Reinforcements come through. There are a few cannons up here still.
Army supply still 37 for MVP Keen, and we have 30 for First, but First suddenly on 2 mining bases, and the only mining base that we still have for Keen is to the left side of the map, and it's running out of mineral patches.
It's running out of mineral patches. More zealots coming through here. First takes a supply lead. He's rebuilding his cybernetics core. The stalkers blink forward, picking off the Vikings, which are no longer useful.
Keen doesn't realize how much trouble he is. He needs to lift one of those command centers that he has in his base and just fly it over to another line of minerals.
Color, I don't think Keen. Okay, he does know about the base of the bottom.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, is moving that, but I think he's lost too much time here.
Yeah, I think so too. The problem with Keen really is that I don't think he expected to be up against such a massive army at the right side of the map. He could have moved those command centers a long time ago, but he did not think it to be necessary.
Yeah, I think he just recently found out about that base at the far bottom right. I think he only thought there was one more base up there. Robotics being hidden very carefully because he knows that observers could end up being a problem for him, as he did lose his one and only observer. Keen right now though only has 1 ghost. He doesn't have a lot of resources to afford much more. He's transferring all of his SCBs to this one base. He's sending all of his mules there. And
First is starting a crazy comeback here. Unbelievable that after being down so much in army supply, he was able to turn things around with his storms and with his better position at the fight to the right side. Keen is just being punished here for his lack of scouting, never finding the space at the bottom right. And First, with his resilience, is trying to get his army up again. Now finally Keen, with those mules, able to just get the income, and he still has his production. This is something that he never had to rebuild. This is why he suddenly jumps up to 30 supply immediately. He just has to hit those cycles. And once again, we have more probes for First, so the army supply is actually better for Keen.
Yep. The army supply much better here, and it's only 10 probes up, so the economy for Keen with the mules he has is really, really good. He has a lot of gas bank first, that is. The question is, did he lose his Templar Archives? Indeed he did, so he has to rebuild that tech very, very slowly, and this is something that Keen does not have to do. He still has his armor, he still has his Ghost Academy. An attempted snipe here, but it does not work.
Yeah, well, here we have another feedback, and the Marines are suddenly moving in.
The Marines are about to run into storms,
First,
though.
has to be careful. Those storms will be there, and there they are. Doesn't lose too much.
This is so close. This is such a close game right now.
It's all about the tech, and it's gonna take first a long time if he wants to get everything out there. Keen just has this massive advantage, and he is gonna use it. He is playing this now very safe. He overextended himself a little bit earlier, but he realized that he has to be quite careful about how he approaches the last few minutes of this game. Another base for first, though. His main base is long gone. His natural and third as well, but he's still in the game.
As soon as that Templar Archives finishes, we are going to have something like 6 to 8 Archons added to the fight. Drop over here to affect the production. A few Zealots warping into the pen, but they're not going to be enough. And here comes another attack. This is all about the storms. Is he paying attention? Feedback.
Immediately the feedback, and the Ghost is trying to move in, but not able to put that off.
Storm on the army, and all these units are so low. They're so in the red, but he has the DPS to knock the Nexus down. He targets it. Where's
He's
first
trying.
army?
He's getting it. The
He
Nexus
gets the
is down,
Nexus.
and he's
He gets
moving
the
back.
Nexus.
He's moving back, and a blink forward with those few remaining Stalkers. The Zealots are trying to charge in and take down the bio. He needs to move back, and here come the reinforcement. This is the time when First has to move back. He can't just follow this army.
Keen is so low on hit points here. He's microing his heart out down here in the south. He's going for the Templar Archives. The Templar Archives is down. Where are the storms?
The storm again.
Oh, he can't stim. He knows he can't stim here. He does not have the hit points.
But he now suddenly is the one who has a much better income than his opponent, especially since he has those mules. The army supply is dead even on the other hand, and him taking down the Templar Archive was so crucial.
Yeah, so crucial. Right now there is only one Templar left. That one Templar at full energy is all he has left. The drop looks like it will finally be cleaned up here. He can't even boost away with the Archons there.
He might lose the robotics! The robotics goes down!
And he gets the drop away.
Oh my god, Keen is doing everything right at this point. He falls behind in overall supply, but he has a really good income. I don't really know why he's not using one of those additional orbitals that he has at the left side to saturate another mineral line.
I don't know what those Archons are doing, but they need to turn around. They do turn around. The Templar Archive's nearly done. And look at the bank in gas for first. He can make so many Templar. He can make so many Archons.
I think those Archons were trying to abandon ship and to go over to Keen's side.
Well, you know, Keen's still extremely heavy on the Marines. 3 more Archons being made here. He has very few Marauders, only 5 in total.
Keen is definitely not out of, LGIM's first is definitely not out of this. Both of them at 91 army supply at this point. The base going down once again for first. The problem that he has is that at some point he's also going to run out of minerals, and Keen is now doing exactly what I said earlier. He places down a command center at the bottom left. This is what he can do. He can lift his command centers and just get another base.
Oh, here comes the Cloak Ghost! Oh, he cannot get EMP'd here. He cannot get EMP'd. Where's the observer?
Here we go. Where are those ghosts? High Templar, here he comes. But it's sniped immediately, and the first EMP hits home.
That one observer is so important right now. Where are the storms?
He can drop in the main base. That's exactly what he's
Goes
trying
for
to do.
Feedbacks here. Those feedbacks are so low hit points. He runs away. Keen gets scared. He runs away. A smart choice, considering that if he goes into the main base, he could find himself trapped.
In the main base, he could have done quite a bit. To the bottom left, we now have all those SCVs once again at the mineral line. He can use the energy not only for the scans, but for the mules if need be. For now, it's completely fine. But first is the one who is suddenly far ahead in army supply.
He needs to switch to Marauders. He finally has the income to where he can afford it, and I feel like if he can just hold on a little bit longer here and switch to Marauders, he can start to fight this army a lot better. He can kite against the Zealots. A lot of Keen's army supply is in these medevacs. He doesn't have the DPS that First's army does, especially with all these High Templar.
We have a 3-base economy now for First and only 2 mining bases for Keen. He needs to be careful here, trying to take down those High Templars. If he can make this happen, if he can take down the storms, then he will be able to win the next fight.
He has such a great army supply. He really does, but his units have so few hit points, and look at all these Archons.
That was important. He took down the one observer that we had there. This was a big issue earlier. Can he take down the other one? I don't think that he saw it just yet, but the observer gives First a perfect vision on the Terran army.
Color, the army supply is almost dead even, but the army cost, the cost in army is nearly 3,000 minerals more expensive and more tech-oriented than Keen's army. It's all those Templar, all the Archons he has. If you look at the dead numbers, yeah, it looks like they're very close, but when it comes to cost, and how many Storms and how many Archons he has, and the Charged Zealots, which are now running into one of the only mining bases of Keen.
What a great game, number one. We have the attack at the bottom left at the base of Keen, taking down so many of the SCVs. But the Storm hits homes at the right side of the map, where Keen tries to go up a ramp.
Keen has a good concave. He stims again.
He cannot
Where are
go into the ramp.
Storms?
He cannot go into the ramp, but he's trying. How many High Templars are there? Another one is moving in. He wants to get the Storm.
The flank,
force
the
field.
flank and the force field's actually working against some of the Archons to come down. More of Keen's units coming down. This is so close. He needs a Storm.
A Storm, there it is.
Second Storm
Keen
as well.
is getting stopped. He's down to 60. Supply gets 130, and First is on the move. He's taking down Keen, the Terran player. He runs the final. Oh my God, Keen is the final boss basically for Team MVP, and he might lose this first game.
It certainly looks that way. GG!
Oh my God, Keen is out. He was in the lead in the game, underestimated First a little bit, didn't see the base at the bottom right, and the Protoss player, the starting player for LGIM, takes down Keen, the player they were most afraid of.
What an insane game. That game was all about the resources that First committed and his ability to keep those expensive units alive and utilize them to the best of their potential, because Keen had a great army. His army was big, it was fast, it was mobile, but he always had too few Marauders because he had to remake his Ghosts, because the feedbacks and the snipes on the Ghosts were always so good for First. He couldn't make Marauders because he needed to use those tech labs to make Ghosts, and then his Marines were so low on hit
Even
points.
Ghosts were a problem for him. At the end, he had only 3. And another big issue was really all those observers that we had scattered across the bases of First. He saw every single attempt of Keen to approach. He killed a few of those with his scans, but there was always another observer that showed First exactly which position the Terran player took, where he wanted to attack, and he was ready with those High Templars on the high ground, just waiting for Keen to engage one of the bottlenecks.
Let's not forget about that one time where Keen microed a drop to kill all of the tech. One drop with like 4 Marines and 2 Marauders, killing all of the tech and unpowering those gateways while microing his main army against Storms on the other side of the map. That was insane.
I really loved his Ghost drop also against those High Templars. That was really well done.
You haven't really seen that all too often.
Keen actually had such an amazing position when he took down the entire main base of his opponent. But I really feel that he underestimated First, and he thought he had that game won already because he did not know about this one additional base at the bottom right. And he never figured that First might have the bank to rebuild his production and stay alive up to the point where he has the perfect composition and can move in.
He had such a great gas bank, and at the end of the game, he just made more and more Templar constantly, Archons. All he needed was the Templar Archives, and King realized that, so he constantly tried to snipe it, but eventually he couldn't get in there, he couldn't get that tech. And now the question becomes, what's plan B for Team MVP? Who are they going to send out against First?
Yeah. The coach said earlier that he expected Keen to at least take one match. He said that he hopes that Keen can take more than one opponent down, but the most important win would be the one in game number 1. Keen was not able to deliver today, the commander not successful. First the one who takes him out, and now MVP has to make this choice. Who is player number 2 to face First?
It's so early on here. I could see so many different players coming out. Like somebody like Monster, for example, change up the matchup entirely. Could absolutely see him coming out here.
Yep.
Maybe even Sniper.
Naxo is a great choice. I've seen him so often in the past in a situation like this, and it's
that's
him.
Exactly who it is. That is exactly who it is, and First is going to have to now play a Protoss versus Zerg.
A very sound choice here for MVP, putting Naxo into the booth. He's a great player, has a really good track record, and the coach is not too worried just yet. He's like, Keen, take it easy, it's fine, you played well during the season, it's time for Naxo and the rest of the team to take over.
Naxo is such an accomplished player in the GSTL. He's played 25 matches, has over 50% win ratio. His best position is 3rd, in fact, when coming out in the GSTL. This, of course, includes only and all of GSTL stats, so Wings of Liberty and Heart of the Swarm, but he's a player they've relied upon many times in the past.
We are jumping into a 5-minute break before we head into a second game of the day. It's going to be Naxo versus First. Make sure to let everyone know that the GSTL finals are currently on. We had a great starting game today. Let's see what game number 2 holds. We're back in about 5 minutes. The GSTL finals here at GOMTV.